Today we're doing a viewer request for Guyver Bioboosted Armor from 2005. We're split right down the middle, where one of us thinks this is a good adaptation with good characters and great storytelling, while the other thinks this is a bit of a letdown. Let's jump right into it.
I actually really like the story. It's not without its flaws, as with most things, but I like the whole aliens created this weapon, and they just once they had created it, they were like, "Oh shit, this is too much. Let's get rid of it." It winds up in Earth. I like the whole evil corporation. I'm a sucker for 80s things. Anything that reminds me of Conan, the Goonies, uh, ET and things like that. I'm a sucker for. I'm a big Power Rangers fan. This is like Power Rangers rated R. So, it's just right up my alley. So, for me, the story is interesting. It's just this little town and these high school kids, and they wind up finding this incredible weapon, and then the monsters come out and start some shit. And they really do a good job, at least in my opinion, of actually keeping it within the town. It's very Stranger Things for me, and I'm a fan of Stranger Things. So for me, it clicks.
Yeah, I agree and disagree here with Edward. I do agree. The premise of this show is great. I'm gonna go a little bit more into that, where like aliens bioengineered humans for this war that they're fighting, and then they leave Earth mysteriously, and this is what's remained. I think that is really cool. I just think the execution of it could have been better. Like the start of the show is kind of like you have these zoonoids, which is like the next step of evolution, these monsters. And for like the first 6 episodes, you have the Guyver, the main character, fight a zoonoid, and then the next episode it's you've never fought a zoonoid like me before, and it keeps going for like 6 episodes, just like that. And I also think just the start of the show doesn't make too much sense, as later on we get much more into the security and the facilities where these zoonoids are created. How the hell did this random test subject, who is an ordinary zoonoid, the very bottom of the totem pole, one, escape, two, steal 3 Guyver units, the most protected things in this facility? That just makes no sense.
Same way
And
that Ewoks beat the stormtroopers on Endor, man.
it's stupid. It's still stupid. This makes even less sense than that. And not to mention, why has no one equipped the Guyver suit to this moment, especially since it is the villain's main goal to equip one? Why did he never do it until this moment? I do think that the start of the show was a bit boring. To me, it got more interesting in the later half, around episode 12. But I think it was just so slow and so hard to get through, and then it lagged a little bit more at the end. I do think because the show is only one season and it's been canceled thus far, that it definitely didn't do itself any benefits. It did have some good stuff set up that I could have been more interested in seeing later, where the start was just a bit rocky, but once it gets into it, it starts going a little bit more as the manga continued all the way to 2016. I do get, as a kid, I think the show would be fantastic as a kid. You have aliens, you have this I don't know. I almost want to say like he looks almost robotic alien warrior. What are you not going to like about this? It has aliens and monsters. You're totally set as a kid. It's just watching it later, I just don't think it aged as well.
No, yeah, we're at odds, man.
Yeah.
I still thoroughly enjoyed the show. Yes, I have my issues with the show. Yes, there are things that I would maybe change. But primarily my biggest issue with the show is I wanted to see more of it. I wanted to see because I know where the story goes because as Griff says, the manga and stuff like that. So knowing that, it's still something I want to see. The action part of this show is phenomenal. Again, I'm a sucker for kung fu, martial arts, Power Rangers, monsters, and to see that, but on a more mature level, I really enjoy. I know Griff says there's a bit of a trope where every time he fights a Zoinoid, it's a Zoinoid that he hasn't met before, and he's got bigger, better powers, and he's got to learn how to best that. But that's the same with most of the
Well, no,
heroes.
it's more that like each Zoinoid said that exact line. That's the issue.
Yeah,
I
but
get
so did
that's actually
every
gonna happen.
monster that the Power Rangers. Every time
Yeah, and
Lord Zed or
I
Rita.
complained about the Power Rangers too.
But that's the same with every monster that anyone fights, though. Like every
No.
time the Avengers face a villain, it's a villain that they've never faced before. It's someone who's going to really wreck
No,
them
I get that,
and
but they
then
don't say
ultimately
you've
end up
never
kicking their
like.
ass.
Well, yeah, but they don't say you've never fought a being like me before. It's just 6 times in a row they say you've never fought a
I
Zoran
mean,
like
maybe
me.
they
Like,
don't say it right out, but I can remember Loki being a dick about it. Ultron, Thanos definitely said it. Everyone they've ever fought is like, you've never fought me before. And then the Avengers always come back and win. Superman, everyone he's ever fought has told him directly, you've never fought someone like me before. and yet
And
really
it's
the only one
still a
that
lame line every time.
yeah. But if you're gonna complain about the Guyver's villains, then you got to complain about every other villain ever
Yeah,
because
if they say
they
that
all
line,
carry
I
that shit.
will. I will totally do that.
The action here is awesome. The Guyver's I like how he shows new weapons. I not every fight, but the first four fights that he has, there's a new weapon that he has to learn how to use, and I really like the little like psionic blades that come out of his
Yeah,
elbows.
those are cool.
Those are my favorite. Most would say the little atomic fucking blast that he shoots out of his chest. But like with any super big power like that, he can only do it once, and he's got to recharge. So that one's not it's not my favorite. But I like the action. I like the blood. I like that every time he fights one of these monsters, he always ends up ripping their heart out or tearing their face out or something like that. And it all happens within that little town. It either happens at Show's house, in the park, by the river, or at the school, and they just annihilate through shit. And I really like that. I like the martial arts aspect of it. And I like the fact that when a human's wearing because that's what the intention was, when a human's wearing the Guyver unit, it it's kind of like a symbiote, it amplifies everything that the human already is. And that's why, when the aliens saw what it was capable of, they decided, oh, let's get rid of this shit because the Guyver unit, it actually means out of control. And so when someone wears it, it's supposed to just make them crazy and stuff like that. But Show's able to control it. I like the fights, man. I like the monsters. I like that. Yes, as Griff said, each new Zoanoid has a new power, and they're like, hey, I'm much more powerful than that guy. And the only one that really there's like two that really get the upper hand on the Guyver. It's the Enzyme one, and then there's another like beetle type.
There's a few that get the upper hand on the Guyver. I
No,
think
but he
he
ends up kicking their ass really quickly. But those two are the ones that cause him the most issues.
Yeah, I would say it's Aptom, the Zoolords, and then the enzymes. I agree. I think the action's good. It's definitely dated as it's 2005 animation, but I mean for the time, I think it did a very good job of it. I do agree. I like the blades. At first, like it's very convenient. He gets these power ups as he goes along, but I mean you kind of have to. It's kind of how the suit adapts, and that's something that would have come later in the show. But I enjoy it. I think the action was definitely well done, especially in the later half of the series. It got even better as it continued on.
And then we come to characters. Now, this is where I will side with Griff more than any other point in the video. So the characters,
Fucking suck.
they're not. I do like Show. I do like Tessero, his best friend, his buddy. He's got to go. He has to have all these heroes have to have somebody to go on this journey with. I like the dad.
The
Um,
dad's great.
but I'll give it to Griff. A lot of these other characters, they don't really do justice. My favorite character, it's not even the star of the show. My favorite character is
Yeah.
Mikishima. I like Mikishima. I like that. I always gravitate to these lonely in the dark figures that have some ulterior motive as to what they're doing, and I really dig his Guyver unit. I like purple. It's my favorite color, and the dude just he rocks it, man. He's got that mysterious, long hair, dark. He's always wearing dark clothes, and when you figure out like you get the vibe that from the very first time you meet him, something's up with this dude. You don't know exactly what, but with each episode, you're like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. And his power level is fucking through the roof. I think it's
Yeah,
badass.
I
And
don't know if
to
I say through the
see
roof.
both Guyvers side by side, I think that's badass. I would have really liked to have seen a version of Mikishima in the live action movies, but we never got that.
I think the characters here are terrible. I'll start with the ones I do like though. I do like Mr. Murakami. I like his story with it, where he was an escaped test subject or the prototype for the last Zoolord. I think that was pretty cool, and I liked his design as well as he had like more watered down powers, but even still was doing his best. As well as he came in with this what seemed like an ordinary gun, was able to stand up against the Zoonoids, which is something we haven't seen to this point. And I liked him. I thought they were going to do a little bit more with him, but I am very happy with his arc throughout the show. I agree with everything that Edward said about Makishima. I think he was a great character. I thought they were going to go in a different direction as they set him up to be more of on neither side of Kronos or shows, but they seem to be then switch sides to being shows. I thought they were going to go somewhere more in the middle, but I still enjoyed it. Tetsuro, his best friend, I think's okay. He doesn't do as much. He's there because he's kind of started the show. I don't really have strong feelings for him. But Show, I'm not a huge fan of. I think he doesn't really go through much character development, and they kind of repeat a similar arc with him as they continue throughout the show, where he doesn't want to let people get in, but then they get captured, and then he lets them get in and lets them know what's going on. And at moments during the show, he's a bit of a creep to his love interest Mizuki, and I kind of agree with Makishima here for like kind of separating them a little bit, as they don't really seem like childhood best friends at the start of the show as they try to make it seem at the end. And I don't know, I just wasn't a huge fan of the main character. I just didn't like him. He never really grabbed me. There was just really nothing going on for him. But then my least favorite character by far is Mizuki, the love interest. She is fucking awful. If you removed her from the show, it'd play out the same way. She maybe caused like one conflict, but they resolved it in literally 30 seconds. So there was no need for her to be here. She was here purely so they had a female character and they had a love interest. As in most animes, you usually need to have a love interest. It's just kind of how it is. She didn't do shit.
In most movies or TV
Oh yeah,
shows or
just yeah,
just any
most
story in
projects.
general, you have to have that love interest. You just have
Yeah,
to.
and I get that. That's fine. It's just they could have done more with it, and she kind of did a 180 once she knew that show liked her. That she kind of flipped super hard. That now she's super in love with him after being infatuated with Makishima. It's just didn't like it. Terrible character writing. The villains overall, I think, were the better characters. I like Inspector Risker, Guyver too. I like how once he found this power up, he thought more highly of himself and even started killing off some Zoanoids who just bugged him. But I didn't like how his control module was cracked, so it he kind of froze up and malfunctioned. I would have been fine if it happened once. Just more the fact that it happened more than once. It's just a bit of a cop out. I wish instead Show adapted and was able to overcome him naturally instead of just this is a villain he never defeated.
Yeah, no, well, I kind of get that one because he's a much more powerful. So each guy
Yeah, so
unit
have Show Kyver
is
up. Have Show
different.
power up then.
I don't know that he could have though. It's like if Sho and Makishima fought in their Guyver units. I think Makishima. Well, no, I know
But
Makishima's gonna
Kishima would
fuck
have
him up.
mopped him. But at least like start to learn martial arts. Start to do things to train instead of just he didn't do anything to train. He just fought people and just that's it. If he trained, then I would have liked that a little bit more.
But he's just a high school kid who
I know.
doesn't. Sho's just like, I don't even want this in my life. Fuck this. That would
Yeah,
I'd love to find a Guyver unit. That'd be so cool.
true.
But yeah, the second Guyver unit would have, if not for the damage in his control unit, he would have just crushed Sho.
Or then have Makishima defeat him, just something else. But
Yeah, that would have been
I
cool.
the Zoa Lords that they introduced towards the end, I know they're setting up for season two. I just think it's such a shame that in the entirety of these 26 episodes, there was not a single time a Guyver unit fought a Zoa Lord, which is such a shame. It's such a missed opportunity, especially since these Guyver suits were supposed to elevate him above it or have the potential to, and we never got to see that clash. I really wanted that here. And the main villain of this show is a villain called Guillaume. And honestly, he just looks like 90s Donald Trump. It it's just as soon as he came on screen, that's immediately what I thought. And overall, I enjoyed him. I think he was a good villain. I like how he was the last of the Zora Lords to be created, and he wanted to be pushed even further above him and wanted a Guyver suit. Which is again why I don't know why he didn't equip a Guyver suit from before the first episode. But I like that. I like his powers with like creating gravity, creating black holes. But I also question why the hell would you give a Zoa Lord the power to create black holes, which is a forbidden technique? Why would you give that to be an option? It's just asking for it to be used against you. Why would you do that? It's kind of dumb. But given they have no clue what they're going to go against, but they are a bit arrogant, it's a weird thing to do. I also think there's some dumb moments in this show, especially with Gyo, but this one's not necessarily his fault. But when he names or you hear something about a Guyver remover, why would you sit and let him charge it and then not run away if you're in the Guyver suit or hide? Why would you openly challenge it? That's just the dumbest shit ever. But honestly, just the characters were the weakest part. I I struggle getting through this show. I'm being so honest. I'm a huge fan of anime. I've been watching anime for most of my life. This one just it sucks. It's so bad. I get the reasons why Edward enjoys it and why some of you guys may enjoy it in the comments, and that's totally fine. The action here is good. Again, monsters and aliens can't go wrong. It's just it didn't hit the notes it needed to hit for me to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to strongly disagree with Griff. I don't think the show sucks at all. I think it's a lot better than a lot of things that we've seen. I don't know, the last year or so. Uh, Guilt is a good villain, but I remember, and even every time I rewatch the show, I always forget about Arkenfell. But when he comes on, that's the dude. I'm like, oh, that's what's gonna lead up until season 2 and 3 and
Yeah,
whatever
they never
next.
did.
In the manga they do.
Well, yeah, but I'm
Um,
talking about for the show, obviously.
for me, the Guyver goes back all the way to my early elementary days. Good friend of mine, George. I think we were in second or third grade. He was George. If you're watching this, this is for you, man. He was heavily into this stuff. He knew a lot about the Guyver. I remember him having certain action figures and me questioning what that was about because they looked so cool. And he actually had the original series on VHS. We watched it, and I got really into it. And then he introduced me to the American version live action movies, which the suit looks amazing, but the movies are hit or miss. And I don't know that this will ever happen, but if Netflix ever gets a hold of this and they do a live action show, but they keep it, sounds
I
so
would just
crazy to say,
do another
they
animated
keep it
one.
Asian. They keep it Asian. They don't, make, I don't know, fucking Brad Pitt show Fukamashi. Because they do that shit a lot. And they did that with the live action movies. Like if you watch the live action movies, which I know that's not what this video is about, but the main character's name is Sean, and he's an American dude. And he's just the blondest
It's like
mofo
the
they
Dragon
were
Ball
able to
movie.
find. And that movie was advertised with Mark Hamill in the cover as if though he was the leading character. I know why they did it, but it's that movie is so bad that it's good. It's one of those movies where you watch it. It's kind of like Batman and Robin when you're watching a freaking train wreck, but you're like, I gotta watch this. I can't look away. It's like that. And then the second one is slightly better. They recast the main character. The action's a bit better, but still one of those like you remember back in the cable days in the like early 90s, early 2000s, Showtime. It's one of
Yeah,
those movies that just came out on Showtime all the freaking time. That's what this is. But if they were, I agree with if they revamped the animated series and did it on Netflix or Prime or any one of these things, and they jot down a better story. They really got the characters right. If they did a continuation, or if they this would
yeah.
be its third remake, so I would like a continuation rather than a remake.
I doubt that's ever gonna happen.
And I man, this the first one came out in '89, and in 2005 we got a remake.
That's fair.
Masters of the Universe,
Masters
the
of the
original
Universe is
cartoon.
so much more popular than Guyver, though.
Yeah, I get it, but it came out in '85, and then we
Yeah,
got another one in 2002, and then we just got the Kevin Smith one. So it could happen. I doubt that it will. I feel about this the same fucking way I feel about Terminator. Don't show me fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. Don't DH him. I don't want to see that. Just show me. I was gonna say Luke Skywalker. Shit. Just show me John Connor, not some other asshole from some other alternate timeline. Just destroy Skynet, send what's his name back in time. That's what I want to see. I want to see the future war. Same with this. I just want to see what happens. I am interested in the story. I will agree with Griff. I mean, there's some bad shit here. There's some moments here that I'm like, I could skip. In fact, I do. When I watch it, I'm like, oh, fast forward through this shit.
let us know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments. And out of curiosity, do you watch this subbed or dubbed? And if you enjoyed this show, we think you may like Netflix adaptation of Devil May Cry. It just came out, and it is so well done with great characters and great storytelling.